after we got an amazing episode that showed off Fluttershy as a main character, we got the first episode that pit two clashing personalities against one another. Look Before You Sleep was the first Applejack Rarity-centered episode, much like how Fall with Her Friends was the first episode to showcase Applejack and Rainbow Dash's relationship. But before we look at this episode properly, I should give some quick thoughts on Dragonshy, since it did come out before. The plot was adventurous, what with the main six having to go on a quest to remove a sleeping dragon causing smog across Ponyville, especially with that awesome avalanche sequence. The humor was great, with a lot of bits the fandom has always held on to, like the hop, skip, and jump. The lesson was well conveyed, showing that even when Fluttershy seemed like she couldn't do things that the others could, she ended up saving the day in the end. But the biggest takeaway from this episode is Fluttershy, who really shines as the main character of this episode. She starts off terrified and feeling unsure of herself like usual, but once she sees her friends in danger, she stands up to the dragon like a boss. Plus, it was great to see the first dragon in the show that wasn't Spike. The design was cool and it paved the way for the other dragons we would get to see later on in the series. Alright, so with Dragonshy out of the way, let's talk about Look Before You Sleep. We begin with the weather Pegasi preparing for a storm to make up for the lack of rain.
Simply cannot imagine why the Pegasus ponies would schedule a dreadful downpour this evening and ruin what could have been a glorious sunny day.
Think more practical-like, will you? They accidentally skipped a scheduled sprinkle last week, so we need a doozy of a downpour to make up for it is all.
Applejack and Rarity begin arguing based on their specific points of view. Applejack wanting to take down loose branches off of trees, while Rarity wants to make them look pretty.
I wouldn't know useful if it came up and bit you.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Does so, does not. Does so, does not. Does so,
Does not.
does so infinity. Ha!
Does not infinity plus one. Perhaps we should stick together for now and find some shelter.
Perhaps we should. And fast.
After the theme song, Twilight invites the duo into her home so they can wait out the storm.
Whoa, Nellie. Is inside a tree really the best place to be in a lightning storm?
It is if you have a magical lightning rod protecting your home like I do.
And now this is making me think of Magic.mov, where Twilight tried to bring Rainbow Dash back to life with a magical lightning rod.
Thank you kindly for your hospitality.
Do be a polite house guest and go wash up, please, won't you?
I know she said that kinda snobbishly, but she does have a point. It is a little rude to not wash your hooves before entering some pony's home. So it does make me wonder how Earth ponies wash up and use garden hoses, considering how much difficulty Applejack seems to be having with it. And she's a farmer. She probably uses garden hoses for regular farm work. Also, if you're wondering where Spike is right now,
Spike is away in Canterlot on royal business. I'm home all alone tonight.
kinda surprised we never got an episode about that. Unless you count episodes like Just for Sidekicks or Princess Spike.
You and Applejack should totally sleep over. We'll have a slumber party. I've always wanted one of those.
I guess I see where you're coming from. Maybe it would have made a little more sense if Celestia tasked Twilight with some kind of friendship lesson involving a sleepover to help bring Twilight out of her shell. Though, one thing that is within her character is Twilight wanting to do things by the book. The Slumber 101, all you ever wanted to know about slumber parties but were afraid to ask book to be specific.
What in tarnation? Oh, hey, would you look at the time? I gotta skedaddle on home quick. I'm powerful late for something. Good night. Or maybe I'll sit here for a spell.
Everything by the book, and that will make my slumber party officially fun. Did you hear that, Applejack? You certainly would not want to do anything that would ruin Twilight's very first slumber party, would you?
After that, they move on to doing each other's manes, before taking the curls out and their mane styles reset to how they normally look. To be fair, if you want to do the mane styles yourself, you have to buy the toys and the plastic combs that come with them to do that.
It's says here we have to tell ghost stories. Who wants to go first?
Me! I'd like to tell y'all the terrifying tale of the prissy ghost who drove every pony crazy with their unnecessary neatness.
But I have a much better one. It's the horrifying story of the messy, inconsiderate ghost who irritated every pony within 100 miles. Ooh! It's a ghost story. They're all made up. I've got one. This story is called The Legend of the Headless Horse.
Oh, you see? That's something that came back in the third season. The Legend of the Headless Horse. That came back in the episode Sleepless in Ponyville.
And
Great continuity!
And just when the last pony thought she was safe, there, standing right behind her, just inches away was... the Headless Horse! Ghost story? Check.
After that, they make s'mores. There is a very easy Rarity marshmallow joke in there somewhere. And then they move on to the next activity of the sleepover, Truth or Dare.
I dares you to step outside and let your precious tidy mane get ruined again.
Ooh. You have to. It's the rule.
Ha!
Fine.
This began a very popular trope within the fandom, the wet mane look. And apparently, Rarity was the one to start it. Can I get a aw heck yeah from Rarity fans out there? Aw heck yeah.
I dare Applejack to play dress up in a frou-frou, glittery, lacy outfit.
Happy?
Very.
Subtle foreshadowing to Apple Jewel in Season 4.
What does this mean? Pillow fight?
Oh, please. I am not at all interested in participating in something so crude. Oh! It is on.
Maybe we should just call it a night and get some sleep.
So as they all try to go to sleep, Applejack and Rarity just can't help but argue once again. That is until Twilight finally tells them off, and she says that one thing that you should never say in a cartoon.
Ruined my very first slumber party. The makeover, the s'mores, truth or dare, the pillow fight. I mean, is there anything else that could possibly go wrong?
And you want to know why you don't say stuff like that in cartoons? Because something usually ends up going wrong after you say it. In this case, lightning strikes a tree and almost hits some pony's house. Applejack wrangles it, but it swings back and crashes into Twilight's house instead. And it's here where the two finally put their petty differences aside and try to fix what they've caused.
Get all icky.
Concerning. What the? Yes, ickiness is often a side effect of hard work. But y'all need to get over it on account of I just can't fix this mess I made myself. I need your help.
Well, they do have a section about backyard slumber parties. Is that what we're doing right now? Does this count as camping?
Oh, I look awful. Better? Thanks.
Aww, cute. Also, this is very early shipping fuel for Rarijack. Just wanted to point that out.
Dear Princess Celestia, it's hard to believe that two ponies who seem to have so little in common could ever get along. But I found out that if you embrace each other's differences, you just might be surprised to discover a way to be friends after all. So, who's up for another slumber party tomorrow night?
Overall, I really like this episode. I know that some people dislike this one because of the girly nature of the slumber party premise and found AJ and Rarity immature, While I do see those being valid points, it didn't weigh things down for me. While they used these two a lot in the later seasons, Applejack and Rarity have a good chemistry. One being obsessed with detail and the other being obsessed with practicality. And throw Twilight's do-it-by-the-book nature into the mix, I thought there was a lot of fun to be had in this episode. While the lesson has probably been done before in other things and probably done better, it's not a bad one. It's a lesson that still reigns very true, that people can have different points of view and different backgrounds and yet can still find friendship. Plus, if you think about it, this episode is what paved the way for the slumber party scene in Rainbow Rocks, and that's an epic win in my eyes. Next time we'll be looking at another episode that carries a little bit of controversy with it. But until then, I'm the Pony Fanboy, I fanboy over ponies, and you just listen.
The kid brings Smiley Cyrus up and he's like, "Hey mom, this is Ronnie." That's the name of the movie. "Mom, this is Ronnie." And the mom is just like, "Hose yourself off in the back."
Damn.
It's like,